Hi, my name is Chris, and I'm going to do a little video review of this really cool module. It's a Simmons. It's from a Simmons SDS5 drum unit. A good friend of mine has one. He was in a very cool band in Cleveland in the 80s called JD Current, and I'm basically going over the unit, just kind of checking it out, cleaning it up. But I thought it'd be cool to open it up and have a look at it and talk about the circuitry inside. So this is the first module that's in the rack on the far left, and it's the bass drum module. And what's pretty cool, it's got 4 different sounds. These buttons here, you can basically choose a factory sound, and then there's 2 sounds that you can choose that all the parameters are set by little trim pots, which are behind the front panel, and then there's like a 4th user sound where you can basically use all these front potentiometers to like adjust it. So it's a very cool module, and sounds great. And I took this unit out, and I want to talk about the circuitry on the inside. Notice on the far end it has like a card edge connector. This runs on plus and minus 15 volts. So the unit has a bipolar power supply inside. It's got a left and right output, and then an audio output, and then a trigger input. And then this says hi-hat trigger in, so I'm not sure why that's on the bass drum module, although this circuit board may have been used for the hi-hat module as well, so that would explain that. But it's a pretty cool, minimalistic circuit, but it does a lot, and it really sounds great. I believe on the far right, all those trim pots, I think are probably used to set the factory preset sound. And then it's got, obviously all this is through-hole electronics. I'm going to talk about all the ICs on here. A couple things I thought were interesting. This little thing right there, that's 2 pieces of wire twisted together. I believe that functions as a capacitor. You can basically make a capacitor by twisting 2 pieces of wire of a certain length. So I think that's what the purpose of that thing is right there. And then it's got a number of interesting looking diodes right here. Not sure what kind those are. It's got a lot of capacitors that are these multicolor caps with color bands on them. Some of them have really tiny cracks in them. It might just be from age. A couple electrolytic caps, a couple tantalum caps. Mostly resistors and the ICs. So I'm going to talk about what all the ICs are. I made a little cheat sheet here. So let me look up these. So these 4 ICs on the right are 4016 CMOS chips. They're quad analog switches. They're really it's a cool chip. You can use it to switch audio signals. So there's actually there's 3 of those. There's a CD 4011 flip-flop in there somewhere, and the CD CD 4013 is a flip-flop. The CD 4011 is a NAND gate. So there's some digital logic circuitry in here. I believe it's to handle the selection of the presets. So there's a flip-flop. When you press any of these buttons, there's an LED which comes on, which tells you which preset you're using. So this factory LED turns on, let you know you're using the factory presets. These 2 LEDs turn on if you're using the internal trim pot presets, and then this LED above the noise pot is for the user preset. All these pots, by the way, they're mostly 100K. There's a 1 meg pot in there somewhere. The layout is pretty straightforward. This was made in the 80s, but it's kind of nice. Everything is kind of spaced out fairly well. Things aren't really jammed in there like a lot of stuff is nowadays. So anyways, just talking about the other chips which are on here. Let's see here, talking about the ICs. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit, but there's an MC14556 chip on here, which is a 1-to-4 demultiplexer. So I think that's part of the digital part of the circuitry that handles probably the selection of the presets and the control of the LEDs on the front panel. And then there's a bunch of op amps. There's an LM1458. There's 2 of those. There's 3 LF353 op amps, and then there's 3 LM308 op amps. One IC that's kind of interesting is that one right there. I know this is upside down, but that SSM 2044, that's a VCF chip, so I'm sure that handles like all the cool filter sweeps and functions. And then there's 6 transistors on there. Let me look up what I wrote down for those. A 2N5172, there's one of those. There's 2 BC182 transistors and a BC212 transistor. So it's a really cool, you know, I was, for all the sounds it does and everything, it's a really nice design. There's no, you know, obviously no micro in here. Really nothing digital except for handling the front panel buttons and the LEDs. So it's like purely like an analog synth module, and you know, just a really nice layout. And I'll do some demos of the sounds, but I hadn't seen many videos yet where someone actually opened up one of these, so I figured it'd be fun to open it up, talk about the chips which are on here, give a little bit of a close-up. And, you know, obviously everything is mounted on one side of the board. The other side has no parts, so this was just you know, everything fit on one side. And there you can see the trim pots on a separate board behind the front panel. So those are for all the for the 2 presets that you can adjust with a little screwdriver in there. So, and that's about all for now. So thanks for watching, and I'll be posting more info on this module. Bye.